Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video today. And today we are going to be talking about the Battlefield 2042 beta and why there's a lot of issues with this beta in particular. Unfortunately, I am a huge fan of Battlefield. I've been playing the series essentially since Battlefield Bad Company 2. I play a lot of first-person shooters, Halo 3s, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2s, any sort of FPS, I've pretty much given it an opportunity. And unfortunately, with Battlefield 2042, I feel like it's taken very minimum steps forward, but then also taken every wrong choice and stepped backwards. So the first thing I want to start about is that I felt like a problem with this game is that people like myself and other Battlefield fans have overhyped the game a little too much to where expectations were insanely strong. And then we play this beta build, which according to DICE is actually an older build. We play this build, and not only does it not live up to our expectations, but it just kind of shatters it in general. So I wanted to go over the things that I liked about it, of course, because there's a lot of potential here. But I also want to talk about what I didn't like about the game. And let's just say there's a overwhelming difference between likes and dislikes. I'm going to start off by talking about the things that I like about this game. The first thing I actually want to say is that I thoroughly think the graphics look really good. It's a great looking game. It's got nice presentation. You can tell there's a lot of depth in it. The clouds, the water, the environments themselves, the weapons, the attention to detail. That's something that Battlefield has always strived in. And this game isn't any different than it. I think it does a really good job of that. The HUD itself isn't the best, which is something I'll get into a little bit later. But the actual game itself looks very good. I played this game on Xbox Series X, PS5, as well as PC. My PC build being a 3600X processor with a 2060 Super GPU. And despite that, my rig ran really well. I know a lot of other people, like my homie Mello and some other folks, they've had a lot of issues as far as performances on PC side, but specifically for my rig, it was good. So don't want to invalidate that situation. And then I try to think about a second thing that I like about the beta, and that's where like the problem comes in. I legitimately sat here for a good 5 minutes, taking my notes down, trying to think of something that I really liked about the beta, and there isn't a second thing, unfortunately, because the things that could have been implemented very well and the things that I were excited for, such as being able to change your attachments on the fly or having more freedom in your class choices, they were implemented to me in the worst possible way to where it was something that I was initially excited for, but now I'm not. So that's unfortunate. And just like that, we're going to jump right into the things that I do not like about the game. I made a mention about this earlier in my intro, but I do feel like this game is a complete step back from previous Battlefield titles. I've literally enjoyed every Battlefield game that I've played, starting with Bad Company 2. I've even enjoyed Battlefield Hardline, despite what people said about that. I love Battlefield 3. Absolutely love Battlefield 4. It's my favorite shooter of all time. Battlefield 1 I liked, and even Battlefield 5 I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think this game takes a step back from the things that made its previous predecessors great. I will say, though, I think a big problem is that the community felt strongly about Battlefield 5, but now you see that there's a lot of things that are missing from Battlefield 5 that actually made that game a lot greater than what it was. So I do think at times the community can be a little too much on the feedback and then not giving the developers any space of like, okay, this is what we actually liked about the game. Because you can tell this game wanted to abandon all things that made Battlefield 5, despite the fact there was good things. I am aware that this is an old build, as EA said, but there are so many fundamental issues that cannot be fixed in a few weeks' time for the beta. If you're not aware, this game has been delayed or was delayed until November, mid-late November. Initially, it was supposed to come out this month, but it got delayed a month. And I'm not sure what the whole purpose of this beta was when the game's been delayed by a month and we're still playing on an old beta build. So I think that's a big issue right now, is that you're playing on an old build that has issues of an alpha or pre-alpha, but with a month time frame being out between the game, you know a good majority of this stuff realistically isn't going to be fixed at launch, leaving us in this weird situation where we don't really know what we're going to do. I've said this already too, but the UI is absolutely atrocious with no visibility of what's going on. And this is super scary. If you look at the gameplay right now, you'll see that, you know, in the bottom left corner, you have your map. The map is very small. You're not actually able to open and view the full map, which is a very odd design change. You also have this orange and blue aesthetic, which I feel like is, you know, a homage towards Battlefield 4. But the way the colors contrast to the screen, it's just very like jarring, and it doesn't fit. It can be very hard to see, especially because this game has chosen to be a lot more vibrant and colorful than the other Battlefields. That's a great part of the game, like I said, the graphics, but the combination of the UI, you know, contrast and, you know, color saturation, it just doesn't mesh well at all. It's very hard to see your information. If you look in the bottom right corner, again, you'll see that the health is one of the smallest icons on the screen. Next to the operator name and your armor, they're very small. And one of the big things is knowing when you take damage, how am I going to readdress this situation? Okay, if I have 30 health, if I get into a gunfight, there's going to be a problem. So it's very hard to even see what your health is. And the information that's presented to you in the UI is very weird. This also collaborates or, you know, coincides with the user interface itself, with being the scoreboard, not really being a scoreboard. I miss the traditional ways of just, hey, you have 64 on this side, 64 on this side. Here's top to bottom, number 1 player to number 64, you know? It's just completely abandoned for some reason. It's been absolutely abandoned, and I think that's very, very weird. You're also not able to customize your classes and weapons before spawning. This is by far the weirdest design choice, weirdest omission that I've ever seen. Now, there's certain things that you wonder, it's like, okay, is it because it's a beta build? But I don't know, and I'm still going to call it out because I don't know. You are not able to adjust your classes before spawning. So let's say you have the M5A3, which you may see here on screen right now. Let's say I want to put a red dot and a grip on it. I can't do that until I spawn in, and then I hold the left bumper to bring up the, you know, the interface that allows you to change weapons on the fly. And also, which I believe this is a glitch, but depending on the weapon that you use, it doesn't save your loadout or attachments on respawn. So if I die and respawn, I have to adjust my weapons and stuff again. I believe this is a glitch, so, you know, I'll give it benefit of the doubt and call it as so. But it makes no sense that I get into a fight, I lose, and then I spawn back in with like iron sight and no attachment. It's like, no, if I pick the build or class loadout, I want to stay with that loadout until I make the conscious decision to change that. Another small thing, there's no grenade indicator. I don't know why. As of the time of the recording of this video, I did see an article that said there is an option that, you know, changes that to where there is a grenade indicator. I don't know the validity of it. Take it with a grain of salt, but why is that not a default feature anyways? I shouldn't have to go in the menu for a grenade indicator. Once again, every shooter has this. Or not every shooter, but most shooters have a way of knowing a grenade hit you. I've died a lot of times in this beta from grenades, and I didn't even hear it, let alone see or know where it was. I would just instantly blow up, and it's like, it's very jarring to your gameplay experience when you're just getting tactically nuked by random grenades. Next is going to be the visibility of enemies is also awful. I've been talking about the visual indicators. This is all UI stuff right now, but these are little things that add up to really take you out of the experience and just confuse you. As you see with that kill right there, luckily I reacted in time, but often the enemies, everybody looks exactly the same on both teams, and that's a problem with this new operator system that they've went for. Everybody looks exactly the same on both ends, and there is not a very good way of displaying what the enemy looks like. So initially you may see somebody run right in front of you, and by the time you react, you notice it's too late. And in a first-person shooter, you need all that information, because if you don't have that information, you are going to get overloaded with just like BS moments of where you had no idea. It's like you're playing hardcore mode or something. Don't understand that design choice either. And I made mention of the operators, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. The problem with the operators is that it sounded actually really cool on paper. I was initially excited about this, and the way it's been implemented has really just kind of watered down the game in general. You know, for anyone who doesn't know, in pretty much every Battlefield, there's 4 classes, and these classes are, you know, your assault class, your medic type class, your support class, and then your recon class. Although this game has those classes, they've been assigned to like operators or specific people, but you also have the freedom of equipping whatever gun you want with any class that you want. One of the things that made the class system unique in the previous Battlefields is that, you know, every class had its strengths and weaknesses. You may be a medic class where you can go and heal your teammates and revive your teammates, but you have no ability to take down vehicles whatsoever. So if there's tanks in the area, you're in trouble. You got to have a teammate that does something for that. And I feel like with this implementation of being able to pick whatever you want, however you want, it's going to encourage more selfish play, and it's going to be very hard to have real teamwork within the game itself. This is one of Battlefield's biggest things, is where teamwork makes the dream work, literally. Without that, without distinctive classes, without individuality, you lose the entire appeal of this game. It's not like Call of Duty where you just run around, shoot, hop on objective, and call it a day. Battlefield has dynamic experiences in every single round. So you could play on this map 100 times and have 100 different games. That's something that I think really hurts this beta the most, is that Battlefield feels like it's somewhat lost its soul. It feels like I'm playing Call of Duty. The gunplay is nice, but it just feels like I'm playing Call of Duty, but on a bigger map, and that's a problem. I like the gunplay of Battlefield. I think Battlefield 5 did it best. The gunplay in that game was really good. Battlefield 4 was my favorite one, but the gunplay and introduction of that was great in 5. I think this game could have kept the similarities of Battlefield 4 while sticking with the mechanics that made 5 very smooth to run around and have mobility in. And a thing with the map, I love the fact that there's 128 players, but once again, there's things that I like, but they're not implemented well. This map has way too many differences, way too much space between each objective. The C1 and the D1 point are probably the best spots that are close to each other. You can bounce back and forth, but everything else is dramatic gaps in space. You have the ability to call down vehicles from anywhere now, which can help with this traversing, but there is just so many voids of emptiness, and it's like, well, if you have 128 people playing, why is it so hard to find gunfights? I feel like I can barely aim for 15, 20 kills in a game, and that's just weird. It doesn't, the gameplay loop isn't smooth. It's very inconsistent. Now, I mentioned earlier about the combination between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 5. The movement, I don't think it's that bad in this game. The sliding feels very Call of Duty-esque, and you can take that as you want. But I think mobility options for 5 are great, where you could lay prone on your back and crawl back and shoot. You know, you could crouch run, which was very exciting, very, very fun way to traverse around corners. You're a little bit more quiet, but a little bit slower than normal running. So, like, there are certain things that were so good in both games, and they've just kind of ignored all of it. Next I want to talk about is hit detection. This is beta stuff, but I have to bring it up again. The hit detection is so bad on this game. It is crazy bad. Half the time I'm trying to aim at people or, you know, shoot people, the bullets just feel like they miss. The bullets feel tiny. There's a lot of delay. There's a lot of lag. And all of that combined with the fact that it's hard to tell who's who anyways, I will shoot at somebody not knowing if I'm even hitting them or not even knowing if they're on my team. And the bullets just, I don't know, it's like they curve the bullet out of the direction of the person I'm shooting at. So then on PS5, there is a very big visual glitch. I don't have epilepsy, excuse me. I don't have that, but you know, you have these white flashes that can definitely cause seizures to people who have epilepsy, and it's a consistent problem, I believe, is caused by when something gets too close to you while you're in a certain part of the map. So I noticed this, you know, if anybody from DICE watches this, but usually when I'm in the D1 area, I've noticed that if something, you know, a vehicle, you know, flies really close to me, or if someone comes in close proximity while I'm near a wall, the whole entire screen will flicker white, and that'll hurt my eyes, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not something that anybody should really be seeing. And that's something they have to protect themselves from, because people start getting seizures and you don't have a seizure warning. I mean, that could be a huge lawsuit for them. We're almost getting there. Very bad animations for everything, such as reviving teammates. I don't know what the deal is with this, but reviving on this game is the clunkiest I have ever seen. Like, it's actually crazy clunky. It doesn't make sense. It's like, you have this long delay, like when you're reviving somebody, like before and after you revive somebody, you just like stand still for a really long period of time. And the indicator doesn't let you know that much when you're reviving somebody. It's like super hard to see. It's very, very goofy. It seems, the animations seem unfinished. Once again, these are beta problems that seem like they would come from like a pre-alpha, you know. The doors are also glitched. Half the time the doors randomly open and shut, but they're like indestructible, and they're partially open. So when you're trying to gunfight in a building, sometimes you'll literally glitch through the door. You can also run through elevators, like run in and out of elevators, and the elevators don't actually open. You just run through them. So like there's a lot of these animations that are like non-existent or missing, and like they're super, super buggy, you know? Like there's certain bugs, like I said, that are funny. It's beta stuff. But a lot of the bugs in this are like game-breaking bugs, you know? Like if you can't properly walk into buildings, like that's game-breaking. If you can't properly like take a helicopter up to an objective that's barely accessible only by the sky, like that's game-breaking. I also think helicopters are very, very busted, and they're insanely hard to deal with. The helicopters are all over the map. They shoot missiles everywhere. I've also been told they have infinite ammo. They're super hard to shoot down. Now, this is something that, you know, it may be better to deal with when the game comes out, because we only have access to 2 launchers, a lock-on and a free fire. But, dude, helicopters run rampant, and they're insanely hard to deal with, man. The rockets they have are crazy good, or crazy OP. And then, tons of visual bugs. I've said this already. And then the last thing I have for now, Battlefield, I said it earlier, but it's lost its soul, but it's lost the feeling of a sandbox. What makes Battlefield so fun is that it's an experience every single match, man. Almost every time I play, there is something ridiculous that happens that I've never done before, or that I've never seen before. You know, the helicopter could crash into a jet, and then the jet wing flies and hits somebody. Or you could C4 a whole building. I remember one time I was playing Battlefield 3, and I put a C4 on one of these small buildings that people were camping in. I C4'd all 4 corners, blew the building up, it imploded, and killed like 5 or 6 people in the building. Like, those are the super cool experiences that make Battlefield insanely fun. And I feel like this is missing all of that. Like, all of that. The feel of that is just gone right now. And it just feels like I'm playing by myself against 128 people, half of them like AI bots that don't even respond to you, which is also another thing that needs to get fixed. The AI bots are bad. It just lost it. This doesn't feel like I'm playing Battlefield. This feels like I'm playing Call of Duty Warzone pregame lobby, and that's not good, because it loses all sense of individuality, like I said, even with the characters, even with the gameplay. And this video is getting long. It's almost 20 minutes, so I'll go ahead and close it out here. I think I addressed most of what I wanted to talk about, but like, if, you know, anybody from DICE, you know, if the devs here or watch this video, there's a lot of potential in this game, but like, potential doesn't equal a good product, you know? I've heard rumors of, you know, them possibly delaying this until March if this beta doesn't go well. I wouldn't even be opposed to that, honestly. If they delayed this further to come out with a good product, yeah, do that. But it just makes me wonder, when you've had a game that's had all this extra development time, they took a year off, so this had 3 years of development time, as opposed to most games which have 1, maybe 2 years. And I don't know why so many crucial things are missing. I know there's been a pandemic. I know things aren't as fast as they would have been, in the office environment. But how long are we going to use that excuse, Listen to the community, man. Listen to these YouTube videos, listen to the passionate players that aren't just on Reddit for clout. Like, listen to the people who actually care about the game, because this game could be so much better. Like, this was literally my most hyped game of the entire year, because Battlefield is like my favorite. It's my favorite like FPS genre or FPS, series of all time. So just to see this game in this state, when there's so many cool things that should have been implemented but just weren't implemented properly, it's actually pretty sad, man. But I hope they can fix this. I hope they can really improve on the issues with this game. And we'll see, man. We'll see if this comes out in November. For now, I'm not buying this day one. I have to see what they do to improve the game. And that's all I got, man. I appreciate everybody who's watched this video. If you stayed for this long, you got 22 minutes out here, man. But if you like the video, let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you think there's more things that need to be improved, or you think the game's fine. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to your boy. I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of y'all day. I'll see y'all on the flip side. And peace out, y'all. Deuces.